are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Podcast fam, what is up? Collin here. I am at Opus Coffee's brand new location with Tim and Brett Larson. They were on episode 19 like a year ago, and they are going to be one of our first podcast sponsors. Thank you guys. Tell the podcast family everything you got going on.
People have been asking for years, when are you going to open your first location outside of UF Health? September 29th is the day. We're having our opening party. We're going to have raffles, free prizes. We're going to have live music. September 29th, we're right on 800 Southwest 2nd Avenue.
This place is absolutely gorgeous. Come check it out. They're even opening another spot at their food park. When? In October?
Mid-October.
Mid-October. Yeah. Lots of exciting things happening. Come check them out. Opus Coffee. Thank you guys for sponsoring. We appreciate you. We'll see you later. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa! My name is Collin Austin, and my co-host is the gator-loving, scooter-shoving, trivia king, Michael
Scooter-shoving?
Dees. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Rebecca writes this awesome copy, and we don't even know what it means. What's up, man?
Dude, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, man. I feel like we haven't recorded in a while. Everybody's gonna be like, what do you mean? Well, I listened to an episode
I heard you last week. Yeah. No, it's been a while.
I know, man.
We had to stop recording because New Scooters for Less hit their crazy busy season, and this podcast studio becomes, well, it is a scooter office by day, but it's just no way to record. So we had to do a bunch in advance, and it's been a while.
Yeah. How was back to school season?
Back to school was very wet. The team, dude, they rock it every year. You know that, but they rocked it this year. Super proud of them. I mean, we sold a ton of scooters, serviced a ton of scooters, and now we're just kind of breathing a little bit now after all the busyness. I did want to give a shout out to a couple local businesses, though, that kept us well fed. I mean, this team shows up during back to school season around, 7, 8 a.m., whenever I need to call a meeting. And a lot of times we don't leave till 8, 9, 10 p.m. Yeah. And without the help of some local vendors, sometimes, I mean, you know what it was like, not even being able to eat during the day. But I did want to hit up Paisanos, Jimmy John's, PDQ, Sonny's Barbecue of Archer Road, Mia Pa, Gator BTW, Gator's Dockside, PF Chang's, Bento, and Cilantro Tacos. Thank you so much for taking care of us during our busy season. It really means the world to have support from local businesses like you guys, and I just can't thank you enough. So on behalf of the NSFRL team, we really appreciate it. And if there's anything we can do for you in the future, please let us know. You can hit me at mike@nsfrl.com.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome. Because, I mean, they had everything ready to go. Angela went out there. Angela from Avia Events. Shout out to Angela. She went out there, got it, brought it back, got it all set up. The team didn't have to stop, which has always been a weird perception thing. We've talked about that a couple times, because you have like team members who they literally duck away into the corner for like 5 minutes,
shovel food in their face as fast as they can,
to scarf food and get something to eat, because there's just no stopping during that time to eat. But they handled it well, and sometimes customers see that and they're like, oh, why is this person eating? Why aren't they helping me?
At the counter. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like those team members haven't even had the time to stop and eat.
It's go for weeks. So definitely appreciate their support. And did you hear the news? UF is a top 7 university now. We keep getting closer.
So what, we were 8 last year?
I think so, yeah.
And then now we're 7.
So
that's cool, man.
Dude,
Gator Nation,
awesome.
Dude.
Gator Nation is out there.
I'm gonna have to start saying, because every time I'm like, the reason for the podcast, or one of the missions was to keep some of our top 8 talent. Now I gotta get used to saying top 7 talent right here in Gainesville. So yeah, that's definitely
and
big
this podcast
news.
is going to make it top 5. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. The top 5 in Gainesville. And like throwing it back to the episode, you predicted the Gator Miami game correct, except for the score.
Yes. Back to the 2 College Brothers podcast with Wade. I did say we were going to beat Miami by 3 touchdowns. Maybe a little more rust than I thought. We won, and that's what's most important. But then we won last week 45-0, game number 2. So that was a little closer to the prediction. Dude. But we're 2-0. So, and that's what matters.
I know, man. It's exciting. I actually feel good about football.
Yeah, it's nice to have that like, vibe back, where it's just like, okay, maybe we got something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what else?
What else?
Dude, we have a podcast sponsor. I'm so juiced, because throwing it back to like episode 19, we had Opus Coffee on the show. Okay, this
Coffee.
episode is brought to you by Opus Coffee. You guys, I want to give mad love to them. Just so you know, they're opening a brand new location in the Innovation District at 800 Southwest 2nd Avenue. It's right over there from the Innovation Hub on 2nd. It's
awesome.
a cool little standalone. It's beautiful. They even have like a little conference room in there that like businesses can basically like sign up to use, and it's open to the public.
Brilliant.
So like Repaint is going to meet over there to do our Monday morning meetings, which is awesome. But just so everybody knows, their grand opening is Sunday, September 29th. They're going to have live music, giveaways. They even have like one of 6, like apparently they have this badass like espresso machine by a brand. I guess the brand is Slater. And it's like one of 6 or 7 in the state of Florida. So it's like a really, really big deal. It's a really big differentiator.
I love espresso.
But the space is beautiful. So you guys go check it out. They're going to open Sunday, September 29th. Thank you, Opus Coffee, for sponsoring our podcast. It's going to help us live on another week. Another week. Here we go, baby. So, and you know, I don't know if this was a good idea or a bad idea, but I jumped on Facebook recently and I said, hey, look, I know that a lot of nonprofits have some epic events going on this fall. If anybody is in need of a little love, a little shout out to bring some awareness, hit me up. I said I only need like 2 or 3, and then I got like 60 comments, which is great. But so I'm gonna try to like spread them out and do like 2 or 3 in an episode, just kind of looking at the weeks ahead. So these are the ones that had stuff coming up sooner than later. So I wanted to give some love and tell everybody about Peaceful Paths. They have their kicking off Domestic Violence Awareness Month at the 5th annual Power of the Purse Luncheon. It's going to be Thursday, October 3rd from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Gainesville Women's Club. You can buy tickets at peacefulpaths.ejoinme.org or call Stephanie, the Director of Development, at 352-377-5690. Also, Startup GNV. We had Brian Tobin here as a co-host one time. You guys, Startup GNV is doing some incredible work. They have their Startup Sprint. It's a 48-hour hackathon and pitch competition. It's going to offer professionals, entrepreneurs, students alike the opportunity to work on a startup idea over a 48-hour period, and it ends with like a Shark Tank style pitch for prizes, which is really cool. You do not need to come with an idea nor have a preformed team. Just go. Like, it's going to be legit. Be there. And it's funny because this is the stuff, like when I look at Gainesville now, I'm like, this is the stuff that did not exist when I was in business in 2004. And there's
you had to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, man. And now there's so much opportunity and resources. And this is a great one. Go get involved. You're going to meet a lot of people. It's going to be October 11th through the 13th at Feather's office in Innovation Square. Check out startupgnv.com to learn more. And if you can go find the link to the tickets, buy tickets. If you use the word, like the discount code WHOA, WHOA, it'll even give you 15% off tickets. So go check it out. It's really awesome. So shout out to those nonprofits. So much happening in Gainesville, and I am excited to get into today's show. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Today on the show, we have Joe and Joyce Reices, founders of the Tea Shop. Guys, welcome to our show.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
How's everything going this fall?
Good, man. Good. We got pretty busy, as everybody else did when the students came back. So
yeah, you guys kind of like seasonal based off that? Like what makes that?
Yeah, I mean, we do slow down, during like summer break and stuff. But once the students get back, it's back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because, do you guys have like a bunch of sororities and other things?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of like UF organizations, sororities, fraternities. But yeah.
Yeah, and the summer didn't slow down that much this year, but for our first year, you could definitely tell that the students weren't here. But this summer was actually pretty good.
Yeah, we got to work with a lot of local businesses.
Yeah, instead of like the student organizations, it was more of the small businesses, a lot of small businesses actually. So it was really cool. Yeah.
Cool. So we like to start by kind of just telling everybody's story, right? We like to take it way back, or whenever you guys decided that you're going to start this business, and just kind of, just give us your story. We want to hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to start?
Once upon a time,
Right.
back when I was 3 years old, I had this dream of starting this tea shop.
Actually, no lie, he's always talked about how he grew up like going to work with his dad in a print shop. So it's really funny that we ended up owning a print shop, and that's what he does. I don't think that it was because of that, but it's really funny that you bring that up. But
Yeah.
when we got started, he was starting out screen printing. So I don't know if you want to talk about that, Joe.
Yeah. So we previous to living in Gainesville, we lived in Orlando, and I was working at a print shop in Orlando. Pretty much just started at an entry level position there, worked my way up to become a printer, fell in love with it. And meanwhile, Joyce was going to school for business at UCF, and I kind of just got the idea. I was like, hey, let's talk about starting our own print shop. We didn't have a date in mind or anything like that. It was kind of just like an idea. And then one day at work, I was just there like stacking shirts on shirts just in my mind, and thought of the name The Tea Shop. So I was like hype about that all day while I was at work. I was like, man, I really like that name. And then went home. I literally just walked in the door and said, The Tea Shop. And Joyce was like, yes.
Like my mind was like blown, and I was like, you know what? Yes. We had talked about it before, but we didn't have like we weren't even really taking it that serious. It was just something that we talked about. But when he came up with the name, we were like, for sure, like this is it. We're definitely doing it. So it was pretty much the name. After that, I went ahead and registered us on Sunbiz, and like we got looking for equipment, for used equipment, and we did find a pretty great deal. And we fit like all this stuff in the back of my Corolla. Like I think about how hard that was at the time. And we got started printing in our apartment, our 2-bedroom apartment. And
All right, so how long ago was this?
It was in 2014, so
2014.
5 years.
And so you were in Orlando at the time. You were going to school.
Yes.
What were you majoring in?
Business administration.
Yeah, business administration. What were you were just working?
I was just working
another shop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's go. Let's throw it back just a little bit more because I like this. Not that we intended on this necessarily being like a husband and wife episode.
Yeah.
But we've done these like spouse episodes, and I always like kind of like the how'd you meet stories.
Gotcha.
And like I like to get into what's at work, like working with each other and that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
So did you guys met in Orlando?
No, actually, we are both from South Florida, and we went to the same high school, Hollandale High School. And we had like the same friends, and we always knew each other, but we were never really close. But after we both graduated, and I was already at UCF, I don't know. I think he just randomly, hey, do you want to hang out or something? And I was like, sure, And from then on, we were friends, and then we started dating, and he decided to move to Orlando, even though that seemed crazy at the time. He was also like looking for something different. So yeah, when people hear like we met in high school, they're like, oh, so you guys were together? We're like, no, we weren't together in high school, but we've known each other since then. So like 2007.
Is that how it went down, Joe?
It is.
Yeah. Sometimes I like ask the same story. Like what's the true story?
Right.
Like, that's really good.
Yeah, it is. Actually, the truth.
Yes, that's what we're asking for here.
Okay, so this is how we like initially started talking like outside of like just like knowing each other from school. She was like disconnecting from Facebook for a little bit, and
why would you ever do such a thing?
I was disconnecting from social media in general.
Yeah.
And I had like a few people that I had like open messages with that I was talking to back and forth. Maybe like 3 that I didn't have their number, and I was like, here's my number in case you want to keep this conversation going. But we weren't even talking, I think we were talking about like movies or he had started working at a sushi restaurant or something like that.
So Joyce is cutting herself off from social media.
Yeah. So I give him my number. He didn't even have my number.
Yeah.
So that's how you know we weren't even close in high school. But I gave him my number, and then I didn't think he would actually text me or anything, but
I sent her a funny text. Like, I can't even remember what it was, but I just sent her a funny text, like assuming she didn't know who it was. And then she messaged me back and she's trying to guess who it was, and I told her who it was. And then from there, we just kind of started going back and forth, just texting. And then we decided to hang out and started dating.
So your relationship really started with texting.
Yeah, it did.
I would say it really started with Facebook, really.
Facebook,
I guess,
was it Facebook like messaging, like going back and forth on Messenger, or?
No, I wasn't even Messenger at the time, you know.
Yeah,
Facebook.
it was.
Really?
It was Messenger. It wasn't like its own app, but it was
Yeah,
Facebook
it was like
messaging.
Facebook, not like
Yeah.
Messenger.
Yeah, yeah.
Messenger is
Yeah.
like the app.
Facebook's so old. No,
It is, right?
15 years old, but like.
Yeah, so I would say, yeah, like.
So how do you guys go from this like texting to, hey, why don't you move to Orlando?
Well, she was
don't
going
know.
to
He
school in
was kinda
Orlando.
crazy.
She was going to school in Orlando, but she was in South Florida at the time we were texting. It was probably summer break.
Yeah, it was summer break.
And
So I was at my mom's house.
it was like right at the beginning of the summer break, and we kind of just decided to hang out. We spent pretty much the whole summer break together, every day. And then
we tried to do the long distance thing, I guess, because you didn't move to Orlando till like later in the fall after I had gone back for the semester. And he was like, I'll move to Orlando. It's no problem. And I'm like, it's kind of crazy to think about it, but I mean, that's the kind of person he is. He's very like spontaneous, doesn't mind change. So now that I know that, I'm like, it's not that weird. But at the time, I was like, that's huge, you know?
Yeah, it was like we talked about it, and a week later, I was in Orlando. I had a car. I sold my car because I didn't really have any money. Sold my car, used that money to get on my feet in Orlando, and then from there, just started working. And yeah,
Like I said, from the time you started working, I mean, from the time you got to Orlando,
yeah.
how long was it before you started working at the t-shirt place or the printing place?
Yeah, it was actually pretty hard to find a job in Orlando at first around that time. So it was probably like a month and a half, 2 months that I didn't have a job. So the money that I sold my car, I was kind of like using that to survive. Yeah. And so yeah, I was just getting interviews at different places. I didn't have anywhere like in mind. I was kind of just open to anything.
And I actually found you that job, now that I think about it.
Of course you did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she did.
Us men need women like you in our lives to do that for us. I'm like, not, I mean,
You're not
I
even
think I'm
kidding.
joking.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
Yeah, and I was kind of just open to anything at the time. And
Yeah, we didn't decide like a print shop, but I saw that position, and he had worked at a print shop before. So I was like, yeah, he has experience, and he's like, not really. And I'm like, I told him you did. But it worked out because they did talk to him, and the experience he thought he didn't really have, they did value that little experience that he did have. So it worked out. And we met a lot of great people at that job as well.
So you were there for how long?
I was at that shop for almost 4 years.
Okay.
Almost 4 years.
And so in this process, Joyce, you're just going to school, getting a degree in business administration. Like, what point did that conversation? I mean, you just like, I want to start my own place.
Yeah, it was probably like the second and a half to third year of me working there. It's kind of when I started to get the idea. I would just be printing shirts, and then I would see the shirts. I mean, on top of being in love with screen printing itself, I saw the shirts going down the dryer, and it was kind of just like money coming out. Like, that's kind of how I saw it, because, it was every shirt.
Well,
that
you
gets
would look
printed.
at the invoice,
Yeah.
and see that per shirt, you were making a certain amount, and then he'd be thinking, okay, per hour, I'm only making this much, and it was, I guess that mindset, he kind of thought of it, and I don't know that we even really took it serious the first time we really talked about it, But as we kept going, we were like, okay, so we're serious, you know, and every time we would do something more, like, okay, let's get this equipment. Okay, so we're for real, you know, and it just kind of like spiraled into.
All right, so hold on. So you're saying like you're like seeing these invoices, and you as a employer aware of what the margins are.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
So you're thinking to myself, oh man, this is like, I'm working at this hourly wage, but I mean, so now I'm super interested now that you're business owners and you realize how much overhead is.
For sure. It
like, has your perspective changed?
Definitely.
Like, you're like, oh man, like I totally get what it's like to own a business now and have all of this overhead.
It's not
and all
even
this
just the
insurance and all of
overhead.
this.
Yeah, it's like the stress, you know, all the stuff that comes with it. It's not just, sometimes I'm like, I wish I could just go to work and then leave. But even when you're a business owner, like it never stops. You go home and like you're thinking about different things that you want to do, or randomly, you know, you feel like, I want to say like kind of inspired, but you just sit down and you're like, I feel kind of inspired to work right now, or I've been meaning to do this for a couple weeks, and you just sit down and do it. So it really never stops, you know, and I do think that it's funny that we didn't think about that at the time. We were just like, hey, you know, they're making this much money.
I mean, I gotta think it happens here too. I mean, like, you know, it's easy. We service scooters, you know, and charging $80 an hour.
I dream about them. So,
yeah, you dream.
I never
Right? So like here we are,
mind.
we are charging labor $80 an hour. Like we're not, you know, like our techs aren't making $60 an hour.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like we have like, you know, there's obviously a margin there
definitely.
because we have
Absolutely.
so much overhead and
For sure.
you know, rent and utilities and I mean everything else. So it's funny
Absolutely.
how like you don't think about that as an employee until you become the employer. And you're like,
But it's kind of good that you didn't think about it.
I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of good
For
that you don't think
sure.
about it though, because that might like,
Deter
you know,
you from-
it gets you started, and then you're like, oh, I'm already in this, so
Yeah.
let's go.
For sure.
Yeah, but I do think that it also helps if you pay like your employees like a fair wage.
Oh, for sure.
I think that keeps them happy in a sense. So I know that a lot of the reasons, I mean, there was a lot of reasons why you left that shop as well. But one of them was also, you know, him wanting a raise, and it was actually due like, they had given him like a sheet with everything that he had to know and everything he had to do, and then the manager left, so he got promoted to manager, but they never gave him a raise, that kind of thing. And when he did ask for one, like they laughed in his face, and they were like, no.
Yeah.
Like literally laughing.
Kind of. Yeah. It was, kind of.
He's like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, no problem, you know.
Yeah. And that was just some extra motivation, you know, to at that point we already had the equipment. We already had like a few customers that were like friends and some people, some like organizations at UCF that Joyce
Had connections with?
Yeah, had connections with.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of doing that on the side because I worked while I was in college. Like at some point I had 3 jobs, but for the most part I had 2. And I think at that time I might have had 1, but then we were still doing that on the side. So it was definitely not enough to say, hey, let's quit our jobs or anything. But we could figure it out. You know, once we had these customers, we were like, okay, so this is possible, you know. And we even still have some of those same customers now. So that's
cool.
pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did this transition happen? I mean, did you already start it before you graduated?
Yes.
Okay, so you had already had your own company going.
Yes.
Is it called the Tea Shop?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so were you in Orlando?
Yes.
Yes.
So what caused the move to Gainesville?
So we were actually, after I left the shop that we were talking about, I went and worked at a different shop. So I was working at this shop, and I got contacted by the shop I was previously working at. And they were thinking about opening up a print shop here in Gainesville. Meanwhile, you know, I was working at a different shop and doing the tea shop on the side. But they made us an offer to move to Gainesville, and Joyce and I would both run it. So we kind of started doing that. They moved us out to Gainesville.
And we put the tea shop on hold.
On pause,
we were like, okay, so let's try this, you know. And we did that, I want to say it was like 2 years.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of disagreements with the owners.
Was it kind of like a franchise model, sort of, like, or with royalties?
No. No.
I think they wanted it to be, but that's not what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had a lot of disagreements, and there were things that they were just not willing to see eye to eye with us. Again, it's the same owner of the print shop he was at. So, in the end, it didn't work, and that print shop no longer exists in Gainesville. So we decided to just go ahead and get back to our own. And we liked Gainesville. Surprisingly, we didn't think we would when we first moved here, and we love it. You know, we like it a lot more than Orlando. And we decided to stay here and open up the tea shop back up after it being on pause for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, how big is your team right now, or who helps you run the business?
It's just us right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a person, and they took another job, which we're not mad about because we were only able to hire them part time.
Well, he moved to Texas. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he got a job offer in Texas to make a lot more money than he was making, and we were only able to hire him part time. So, yeah, and that just happened last week. So. We're like,
fresh.
we're like, this is a lot of work right now, but we've done it before, and hopefully we can do it. And we're hoping to add another person to the team soon, but the hiring process also takes some time, so we'll see.
Do you guys get tired of working with each other? They're like,
Not as much as people would think. We get asked that a lot.
I was gonna say, I don't think that I really get tired of working with him, which is surprising. But I don't think so. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I really don't. I actually think about it. There's no one I would rather work with as much, because like, I know at the end of the day he has like my best interests at heart.
Sure. And
he's looking out for me, I'm looking out for him, and he's super hardworking, like things that I appreciate. So I feel like it actually works out.
Yeah, that question's never gone the way I've expected it.
Yeah.
I think I asked that question of
every time
all the spouses and stuff on the show, and I like expect someone to be like, "Yeah, man, we have to stay in our own areas and like not talk."
There's a giant piece of tape that runs through the office, and that's her side, that's my side.
But no, like everybody has always been like, "No, man, like we really like it. We're a good team." And
Yeah.
I mean, it is similar responses from everybody.
Yeah, it is different. I won't lie. It's like I joke around a lot, and I tell him like, work Joe and home Joe are like two different people. They're two separate people. They're not the same at all. But I'm really
okay. In like what regard though?
He's it's so funny because he's very serious at work. He's, fast paced. He wants things done like as soon as possible. And I mean, like, as soon as we walk out of the door, he's like really happy. Oh, what do you want to do now? Let's go to the park or something.
Do you feel like that's accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Like 100% accurate. There's no way that I would be lying. Like, I cannot make this up. But yeah, I mean, as soon as he walks out the door, he's like, oh, what do you want to do? Let's go to the park. Let's go do this. And I'm like, you were just so serious. Like, you didn't want to joke around with me. You didn't, like, I don't understand. He's like, no, it's just really stressful. And I totally get it. I don't know that I'm the same person at work either. But it's just really funny because I feel like with him, it's like, it's two different people, like night and
Do you
day.
feel like she's consistent, or do you feel like she has
she's pretty consistent.
Okay.
Yeah, she's more laid back, like in general, and at work I'm just like super focused, super zoned in on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like super zoned in.
Yeah, I mean, we work on like really tight schedules, it's just us, and we have a lot of shirts to print. So
do you have I mean, it sounds like you don't have a hard time turning it off when you go walk out the door.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, are you like really thinking about work when you're laying in bed at 10 o'clock at night, or?
Yeah. I mean, I do. But there's a time window where like I'm okay with turning it off, which is right when we get off work up until the baby's asleep. So once our daughter's asleep, I can kind of kick it back on and jump on the computer and do artwork and do proofs and do emails and stuff.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is she like in daycare right now? Or are you taking her to the shop? Or
Either I work from home sometimes and stay with her, or she comes with me. So that's a whole nother challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have a whole little area for her at the shop. So.
Yeah, she's got a setup, and she's so used to it that like she comes in and she knows where to go. She has her toys. Like she's totally used to it. But I think it's funny because that also shows the distinction. Like when he's at work, he's not focused on like baby stuff or anything. And me, I'm always focused on baby stuff. Like that's my life. If one thing that is my whole mind revolves around her. I don't care if I'm at work. I don't care if I'm at home. Wherever I am, it just revolves around her. So sometimes, he'll ask me to do something, and I'm like, okay, right after I do this for the baby, and he's like, I need it done now, and I'm like, okay, but he's fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole.
So what you're saying is there
challenge.
are challenges to working with your spouse.
Yes, there definitely are. But I think there's challenges to working with anybody who's a person. Like,
of course.
Just anybody.
I don't like working with people.
I'm sure there are people who say that. I'm 100% sure there's somebody out there who's
funny.
like, I want to I want to work alone. But
So at a year and a half, daughter, you said your daughter?
Yeah.
So daughter is probably not at the place. I mean, she's too young to even really know what's going on with
She doesn't have like an
business.
easy bake t-shirt
Right,
press yet or anything.
I was just telling her that how
Soon.
fun it'd be to like have a little press for her. Like, print would be hilarious. But
she's
yeah.
into imitating right now, so I feel like it'd be really funny to get her like a small press or something. She'd be so cute.
It's funny because when Schaefer came to the shop that day, I'm like, my son, he was 9, but now he's 10, and like I was like, it was over the summer. I'm like, he's not in school and everything. I'm like, come to work with me, come to work, Dad, for the day. And like he's like super excited about it. Mm-hmm. And then we sit down and have like the first meeting, and like so my team is like we're all like around the table having our meeting, and he's just like, I'm bored. He's like ready to split. He's like ready to get out. Like
Yeah.
He's like, all right, like let me go find team members to like watch you while I have this meeting.
We tried to get him to blow some leaves, and that wasn't happening
Yeah, we
either.
tried to get like the leaf blower outside. We actually like put him to work, and that lasted for a few minutes, and
Not
it was
long.
like this is not exciting anymore. It's like, oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
definitely think when they're a little bit older, it might be harder to bring them to work because they're more aware. It's harder to entertain them, but for now it's working. But I mean, obviously, this is not a forever thing either.
And she's still super young.
Yeah.
So like you really don't know if she's gonna be, printing shirts with you in 5 years. Well, that's really, really cool. Mike, what else you got, man?
So walk me through the process of getting the shirts designed and stuff. Do you do a lot of creative where you like, I don't know, list the shirts for sale, or do you do a lot of, somebody contacts you and says, hey, I've got an idea for this shirt, I want to have it printed out for my
We
organization?
mostly do that.
Okay.
Someone contacts us with their design. I don't think we actually sell any shirts.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, so it's usually someone either has their design or they have an idea of a design and we can design it for them. But yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
Do you find often that they give you too much information and not enough creative, or do they like give you nothing to work with and it's hard to please?
It's usually that they give us nothing to work with. It's hardly ever that they give us too much, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you say? 'Cause
Yeah, I
usually
mean, it
people-
depends. A lot of the times our customers already have their artwork ready for the shirts. They already know what they want. For the customers that do need artwork, they usually just have like an idea. And I also do all of like the artwork and graphic design and stuff at the shop. So, yeah, they usually give us an idea and we piece it together as best as we can. They're usually pretty happy. So, I don't think we ever get too much information. We actually have to like milk more information out of people.
Yeah, it's usually
sometimes.
we don't get enough information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are most of them local?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I would say,
we've had
like,
a few out of state or out of city sometimes, but most of them, I would say like 90% of them are local.
Yeah.
All right, so who's had the coolest shirt that you've done?
I was gonna ask for the most bizarre one, so yeah.
I can give you guys
What, like, if
both.
you're like, oh, this company, like, they had the coolest shirt that we ever printed. Who would it be?
Shout out Always True. So Always True is a brand here in Gainesville, and they're probably like our number one customer, I would say, as far as like consistently ordering.
I engage with Drew all the time on social media. I've never met him face to face yet.
You gotta have him.
But
You gotta
yeah,
have him.
but we've engaged multiple times on like Instagram and just in social media in general.
Yeah, they're
It's-
great.
yeah, he's a really, really
And
cool
we've
guy.
been printing for them since they first started, which actually started at the first print shop we were at when we moved to Gainesville. And I think Kevin and Drew came in a month after we had started there. So it was pretty interesting because we both kind of grew at the same time, and they stuck with us. So it's been pretty great.
Yeah.
And they probably had like several, right?
What do you mean?
I mean, several shirts. I'm
Oh,
sure,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they're like,
Yeah,
several
definitely.
designs, several
Yeah.
shirts.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I said that they've given us so many like cool designs to print. Their last collection consisted of like 700 pieces, and it was like every 25 or 30 shirts it was a different design. And each one of the designs were super cool, so that was a really cool
Yeah,
collection
all
we got to
like
work on.
like 5 color plus. So
Yeah.
it was really, really cool. And now I'm thinking the most bizarre shirt, Joe.
I can't think of it. I was
Yeah,
trying to think of it.
There wasn't like a cringe-worthy one or anything.
There's a few of those.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious.
We can't get into that.
All right.
you don't understand. This is where the podcast gets really
Right?
good.
Right? Yeah, there's a few of those.
So yeah.
But let me think of
like the one where you're like, I cannot believe I'm printing this right now.
There's been a few.
If my daughter ever sees this shirt,
I mean, the only one I can think of right now is like this. It was like just shirts, or like it was like coconuts where your boobs would be, and I was like, all right, whatever.
There's been a few that there was one that said like some that have like profanity, I guess. I was like, what is this? Remember the F. Collier property?
Oh, right.
I was like, oh. Yeah, I was like, this is very, like, someone went out of their way and paid for shirts to be made with that on there, you know? Like, they must really hate them for whatever happened. But yeah, people make...
Not that it'll ever happen, but can you just promise me if anybody comes with an F in a Sorel shirt, you just won't let it happen?
We will just tell them
Say
no. Yeah, we can't do that.
I trust our fans,
Yeah.
customers.
I don't think
and
we've
people
ever had
would
to
never do
turn.
that.
I don't think we've ever had to turn anything down yet.
That'll be an
No, we
interesting
did
day.
stop working
Yeah.
with one of our customers
from a headache
because it
standpoint.
got weird. No, it got weird.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like you had to fire them.
No, a customer. We decided we weren't gonna work with him anymore.
said
Yeah. So
something.
how did that conversation go down?
He said something racist to Joyce.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
After a couple of his designs were already kind of like, oh, okay, I don't agree, but we don't let that get in the way. So we were like, okay, it's fine, you know. But then he made like a racist comment and he was laughing about it, and I was like, you know what, this is not okay. You know, I'm not okay with this.
And
Yeah.
and you just said that to
Yeah,
him?
we had to
Yeah.
ask him to leave. It was like,
We're like, you know, we're not going to be printing anymore.
That's always an interesting moment for a
Yeah.
business owner, I think.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I fired a customer like that. I was like, dude. I mean, we had just to tell you the short story. Like we had a guy who bought a scooter online. Like it was like on the internet. He didn't even buy it from us. He bought it on the internet, brought it to us. It had problem after problem after problem after problem, and we would always fix the problem. But of course, you know, something else would break 2 weeks later because it was a piece of crap that he bought on the internet, and it was just over and over and over again. And he was never happy. He was never happy, and it actually got to the point where he was actually going to buy a new scooter from us, but I just got like, I looked at him and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna ask you not to. I was like, I've done everything in my power over the last 2 years to try to make you happy and fix your. And I was like, I was like, I don't have the energy anymore. So I'm just gonna ask you to go buy a scooter from somewhere else.
Yeah, sometimes it's not worth it.
And like, what was crazy was my team. My team was like, "Oh my gosh, you're awesome!" They were so relieved.
They all came
They're
out.
like, "Oh my gosh, we don't have to deal with this guy ever again.
Yeah.
Like, you're the best." Like, I mean, it was very like that. It was
like
the
saved them.
morale and the hype
Yeah.
and like, I mean, they were so excited.
Those are the perks of being a business owner. It's like when you can say, "Hey, I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah. I mean, it was tough though, because and you're always taught, the customer is always right.
Yeah.
The customer is
Sure.
always right. And I think like businesses, like, I mean, we're always going to do what we can to make customers happy.
Yeah.
And we want their satisfaction with us, right?
Absolutely.
And like, but some people, I've just realized, in my time as an entrepreneur, that there's going to be people that no matter what you do, you will never make them happy.
Definitely.
They
Yeah.
just will choose. They will just choose
yeah.
to be miserable and complain about everything.
They thrive off that energy. They really do.
They're
I believe
vampires.
it.
They suck it out of you. You should totally make sure that it makes the video.
What's
like fangs.
There you go. It's tough. What year was that, Colin? It's
It had to be like 2010, 11.
right. So it's tough now. It's harder now because of the review, right?
Oh, yeah.
That person that you fire now goes and leaves a review, and hundreds, thousands, however many people will go see that now, and I think it makes it harder. Like, you still have the responsibility to make sure you're taking care of your team, and is it worth your energy to keep failing at making this customer happy? But now one person can tank a business much
Yeah.
faster than they could in
yeah.
2010. And so that becomes even harder to juggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to reviews, at that point, it's all about what future customers see, right? So just like taking the time to like really make sure that you're super professional. I mean, I think I could have typed out, if that guy would have left a negative review on Google, I think I could have typed out a response that was still very professional, but just, but clear in the fact that this is not going to be our customer
Yeah,
anymore.
I actually was going to say that one thing as a customer, what I've seen is when I look at reviews, and if I see a negative review, I look at the response if there is one, and if they're very, ma'am, I explained to you that this is not what we do. I apologize that you felt this way, but this, and I'm like, it sounds like they did nothing wrong.
But do you think you have that mentality because you are a business owner now?
Yes.
Okay. I think
Maybe.
so generally too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I try to think like, I don't know, it's hard because I am a business owner, but I feel like maybe people who do read reviews do understand that like usually it's either 5 stars or 1 star,
Yeah, there's nowhere in the middle.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Like,
usually
rarely.
Yeah.
Because to me, it doesn't matter if it's Walmart. It's like, if there's a bad review, I'm like, okay, I want to know why you really felt that way. Like, is it that the size wasn't right, or it wasn't what you were expecting, or did you have whack expectations to begin with? Like, I start getting really skeptical of what I'm reading just by nature.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I might have that point of view because I am a business owner, but then I also look at, I'm like really big on researching things and looking at reviews. Like every purchase I make, like I look at it in detail.
Like
and like
product
you
reviews.
said, like you said, I'll look at the review and say, okay, well, it has this, these people are complaining. Let me see what it is that they're complaining about. And if I feel like what they're saying is like they had expectations that were ridiculous, or like it says it in the product that it does not come with, then I'm not, I totally ignore that. I'm like, okay, these people are just kind of like not making any sense, and I don't take that into account. So I don't know, that I feel like, I don't know, is that because I'm a business owner, or I feel like it's also on the customer standpoint.
Look, I mean, if that person left her a negative review for, not accepting his or her business, it was a guy you said?
Yeah.
So it was, not accepting his business. I mean, I'm politely, like very professionally saying, I'm sorry, but the racist comments that you were making don't live up to the values of our company,
Right.
and I refuse to serve you. And period.
And I mean, he had
Like-
a lot of different things that he was getting on shirts that we did not agree with to begin with. But it was like, okay, well, I can't turn away somebody just because I don't agree with what they're saying. That's not how it works. So it's fine, but once you cross that line, if you're saying something racist to me, then it's like, and nothing he ever got on a shirt is racist. So
Right.
just so I add that. That would have been
Yeah, it
a
wasn't like
definite no
so
either.
far off or anything.
No, it was just things that we didn't agree with.
Right, but also kind of going back to your statement, like I actually think you do have, I'm like, if there was something that came across, with me that went against, my values,
Yeah.
I'm probably not
Well,
going
it
to
was
print
kind
it.
of political, and I feel like at the time, everyone was so it was just a weird time. It was the Trump election, so people were really passionate about what they had to say, and
I got
felt
you.
like it was just kind of weird. I didn't want to say no,
Right.
So some of the things you don't agree with doesn't mean I'm just that kind of person.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't
it's
mean
one-
I'm not going
Completely
there.
understand.
Yeah, if it was something that really went against my values, then that would be a different story. But I haven't had anything like that. Well, I don't think we haven't had anything like that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna print. I wouldn't print anything that had hate on it, or if it was a racist statement, you're not gonna print that. You're just gonna tell that customer, sorry,
No, yeah, absolutely.
we're not doing this. You're not the
here.
customer for us.
No, yeah.
Someone else probably will, but
Yeah, but
so how do you differentiate your business from local competitors, online competitors, anything like that?
that's a good question.
Mostly local. So we so our pricing. What do you mean how do we
How do you
price
stand
out?
apart? If I was going to buy a T-shirt, say as a customer, why do I
Yeah.
pick the T-shop versus anybody else?
Well, we have the shortest turnaround time in Gainesville. Our turnaround time for screen printing is 5 to 7 business days, and sometimes right now is actually 7 to 10 business days. But even that is a lot sooner than most shops in town.
Yeah, a lot of them will go 2 to 3 weeks. I think it's 21-day turnaround time. So that definitely differentiates. I think also it's going to be we make it a little bit easier to order online. I don't know. I feel like a lot of other print shops are make it a little bit difficult on that end to kind of go on the website and just order something online.
Yeah. And that's speaking to local businesses. There's websites online where you can go on and order shirts, super easy, upload your own design or whatever, but which is something we're working on right now as well. But usually local pricing is better than online.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who have come in and said, hey, I got this really good price online. But, I always tell them, well, you've got to pay for shipping.
Right.
And, and then you have to wait on the print time plus the shipping time.
Could you please compete with Amazon?
Yeah. And then
it's
I'm
that feeling. I think all small businesses
yeah.
deal with that.
And then
it's
I'm like,
I
you're
don't want to
working
buy this
local.
from you. It's
Right.
on Amazon for $20 cheaper, and it's
I gotta imagine too, from a customer support standpoint, if there happened to be a mistake, or I don't know the technical. If there's a run in the shirt, you're gonna support them much differently than if they got a shipment from someplace in California.
Definitely.
What's that process gonna be like?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So that's
Definitely.
definitely.
so. How many? You guys have any idea how many shirts you'll print in a year?
No.
A lot.
Just a lot.
A lot.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally couldn't even guess.
Thousands for sure.
Yeah, I would probably have to open up our our books to see. I can't even guess. Definitely tens of thousands. Yeah. Hopefully more soon, but yeah.
All right, so you've been in the industry as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in it as an employer.
Correct.
What's the biggest thing that has surprised you since you've become an employer about the business?
I would say originally when we first started, it's kind of be your own boss mentality. I wanted to be my own boss, but then you realize that your customers are your boss, So that I didn't really realize that up until we really started picking up in business, like, wow, like they kind
like,
of, you know?
no, I can't come in when I want because my customer
for
says
sure.
they need their shirts by 8:30, so I got to be in at 8:30, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, that's so funny. That's such a flawed perspective.
Yeah.
In terms, you know, like I think everyone,
Work when you want.
Yeah, you're the business owner.
No.
You get to set the hours. You get to do what you want when you want. And I mean, it was like there was even a piece of content that I shared recently from like 2017 where I was sitting down with a young student entrepreneur and talking to him about this. I'm like, I was like, you think you get to set the hours from 10 to 6, but you're actually working 6 to 10.
Yeah,
and you can like you never turn. You know, I'm like just get into it. But it's so true. Like it's all the time.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine one time. I hope she never sees this episode. But like I remember her posting something on Facebook. It was 3:00 in the afternoon. She's like, "Oh, must be nice to be the boss and leave at 3 p.m. on a Friday." And like I couldn't help myself. I commented. And I'm like, look, I don't know what time he showed up to work this morning, but he was probably there at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And he was probably there 3 or 4 hours before you were.
For sure.
And, you know, and he's probably going to go on that long weekend, and he's probably going to get 2 or 3 different calls that he's going to have to take over the weekend.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
you know, it's just a flawed perspective that, you know, oh, you're the boss, you get to do what you want when you want, and it's just not the case. You're absolutely right. Like the customers are the boss, and
they are.
And you're, you know, we as leaders, and I mean, once you build to the point when you got team members and stuff, that's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, like just like you're providing for your child, like I mean, you have to keep in mind, you know, your team, like
sure. Yeah.
they're your family, you know, and you got to
For sure. That's what I
all these
think
extra
about
stresses.
the most. Yeah, I think about the most when we talk about adding someone is like, you know, that's somebody that we need to worry about. It's not just like, oh, just hire them on. It's like, it's a lot, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're responsible for them, right?
Exactly.
Like, another flawed perspective in business and entrepreneurship is that, you know, oh, like they work for me, the team works for me, like, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like you work for the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I don't know, just messed up perspectives right in the world of business.
Yeah.
You know, and I've learned all these things, and I mean, heck, we were even having a conversation this morning with our team, and we just had a team meeting, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know, like just thinking about the responsibility of, you know, I'm like, guys, you know, family first. Like, you guys are my family. I spend so much time here with you. I spend more time with you guys than I do with my actual family at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, Mike and I, we're here. We've got you. Like, this is family. This is family first.
For sure.
And, you know, that's our responsibility as employers.
It is, and that's one thing that's kind of held us back from doing that. Because I think about it all the time. I'm like, it's not just adding a person, and you know, it's like you have to worry about that person and make sure that, you know, that they have work to do and that they're getting paid, and they're getting paid a fair wage,
and that they're happy,
and that they're happy, and you know, like you said, it's a family. You know, they're going to be a part of what we are, and that's already a scary thought, but. I definitely think it's time, and it might have been time a while ago, but we're just holding on.
When you get to that point and you've hired some people, if you need, you know, help or guidance, like I've definitely managed a lot of people over 15 years.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I mean, how big is our team now? Like 15 right now? We've had as much as 30 team members at one point. So
wow.
That's awesome.
And you know, we're running 2 different organizations, so it's I know what it's like.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. Like I don't want people to think that I don't. Like I absolutely love it.
Well, the truth is, you want to have a 50 person team, 100 person team, like 500 person team. You love that.
I know people think that's really weird, but I feel like it's just my purpose as an entrepreneur is to build up people. And so, like, I want to empower those around me. I want when people, like, don't think that they have what it takes, I want to be that person that's like, yes, you do. You can do this. Like, don't let people tell you can't, you know?
For sure.
I constantly talk about it all the time. I see people getting brought down, you know, like, it's easy for somebody to bring you down to their level versus them build themselves up
For sure.
to their level. I mean, I
Yeah.
even shared like hate. I got hate mail
You got
about the
yes.
podcast.
Yes.
I got hate mail about the podcast.
Wow.
Like, hold on, let me find it.
Oh, this is rich. It's totally worth
Hold
it.
on. Like, I even
And you can tell he's got like
I
the
keep it
bulletin
on
board. Yeah.
I keep it on my printer because I'm like, because I like take this as like motivation.
You know,
Like,
he's the type of person that reads
It's
it
the
every
best
morning
way
to-
before bed.
This is great. A favor to ask is the subject. Dear Collin, you and your podcast both suck. You're short and arrogant. Your jokes are not funny. Please stop. That was it. And like you know,
Was that a comment on like a YouTube video?
no,
or
this was like they literally went to the website. They went to the website, filled out the form, and hit
no.
submit. Like they got way too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
But you know, I shared it. I shared it on social media, and I shared it on LinkedIn, and I got lots of comments. But I shared it because I wanted people to realize that it's way easier to do that.
Yeah.
People, it's easier for people to do that. It's easier for them to go and like tear you down to their level. You know, a lot of people in my position would read that and they would stop.
Right.
They would say, man, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I don't have what it takes. They'll start believing it, and they'll stop making they'd stop making the podcast. They stop making the content. They stop sharing what they, their story with the world. They just stop because they let that get to them.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
me, I'm just kind of like,
You tried to reply too, didn't you?
I did. I tried to respond to it. I responded to it and I said, hey, I'm really interested in your perspective. If you would like to provide me with some
Constructive
constructive,
feedback, yeah.
thank you, constructive criticism,
Gotcha.
I'd be very happy to listen to it. I was very interested, but the email was fake and it bounced and.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So,
they
yeah.
even got a fake email.
Wow.
Well, like they sent it through a form, and so it
Yeah.
asked for an email address, and the email address they put in the form.
Yeah, they didn't
wasn't-
want
Wasn't
they-
verified or anything.
But it's I don't know. It's just interesting because I know that there's so many people who like listen to the hate and they stop doing what they love doing because of it. And me, I'm just like, nah, dude, I want to share this with the world. This is an opportunity. Like, I'm not gonna let that bother me. Like, if anything, it motivates me. That's why I literally clip it to my computer now and
Yeah,
read it every day, because I just want that person. I want this thing to get so big and everybody to be like, I want that person to be like,
Yeah.
damn,
I was wrong.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
sure.
And if you hate me, like, you don't like, I mean, and actually this is a good point. If you don't mind, if you would go to iTunes and like leave a review for the podcast, but like put what you really think and put like constructive criticism. If it's a 1 star, then like just put a 1 star and tell us why, and like give us some constructive criticism. But dude, I seek feedback all the time, but like you suck and you're short, and everybody was like, Collin, you're like one of the tallest people I know. You're not short.
Yeah, right.
And I think
They left the arrogant one alone.
yeah. I think the person Mike's throwing shade.
I have
over
to
here.
do that. He gives
I
me
think-
shade so much. I have to throw it back every now and then.
I think the person was talking like I'm short with people like in speech. Like if you're talking like
Okay.
like that's how I took it. And not that I'm like physically
short.
Yeah.
short. I'm 6'2.5". So like, but
Definitely not short.
but anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. I just thought it was super
Well, no,
interesting.
now that you were mentioning that, I couldn't help but think, I've been asked, what's something that you've learned from running a business. And we were talking about this recently. It's like a lot of things get thrown at you, a lot of like things that would make a normal person quit, and somehow once you keep going after that, you realize like, wow, that didn't bring me down. Like I can keep doing this. And then the next thing comes and you're like, I can do it. So it really is, it's not that nobody can do it. Like everybody can do it, but you can't stop at the first obstacle or the first hate mail. Like, all of that comes and you somehow get through it. You really do.
Dude, I mean, I think that's what defines an entrepreneur, in my opinion, is
Definitely.
perseverance.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about those cry in the bathroom moments. It's not like that you're impervious to it. It's just you don't
Who cries in
show
the
it.
bathroom?
I mean, I've had the breakdown. It's
For sure.
You know, it's not for the weak of heart. It's not glamorous
No.
like it seems sometimes, but I think it's okay to embrace that it is hard
Yeah.
and still find a way to get through.
Yeah, and you know what? Like Collin said, it sounds like you would be like, who likes doing this then? You know, all these negative things. It's hard, you know, but I do love it. We love it. Like, we love what we do, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It is hard, but in some weird way, like, we like this, you know. We love what we do. We love being entrepreneurs, and it's great to see how, you know, things that you thought you wouldn't make it through, like, you do make it through, and you're like, wow, you know, I didn't know I could do that, and now I do know I can do that, and it's something else you kind of added onto, like, your belt or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. Well, keep grinding, keep moving forward.
For
If there's
sure.
anything that we can do to help you along the way, let us know. You know, we need to wrap up, but real quick, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, like website, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah, so our website is theteashops.com, and our Instagram is _theteashop. Facebook, theteashop.gainesville. And
And if you wanted to stop by our store, we are on the southwest corner of Gainesville. We didn't know if we were allowed to be like, hey, we're in the same plaza as like Swamp Head Brewery,
Okay.
but that's the area that we're in.
That's where you're at? All right,
yeah.
cool. Very cool. We might have like a little collaboration between the tea shop and the podcast
Let's do
here
it.
in the near future.
Always.
got some cool stuff going on. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here.
yeah, no
Absolutely.
problem.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. We got into some interesting topics.
For sure.
Like I like
Yeah.
talking about that stuff. And but listen, before we wrap up, I gotta give a couple more little mentions. Okay, so we gotta give love to our Patreon subscribers now, dude. We have Patreon. You guys can go to patreon.com/WhoaGNV, and I like how Joanna's like over there, like, "Whoa, I did it! Yay! Good job, Collin." And you know, Meg, who was on our team, she moved away. But she was one of our subscribers. So I just wanted to give some love to Meg, and I wanted to give love to Lindsay Higgins. She's like my #1 loyal supporter, dude.
Wait a minute.
I mean,
she's like no. She can have the mantle.
So I gotta give my podcast shout outs to Meg and Lindsay. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting us. And I also wanted to give a couple little shout outs to, I get on social media, Instagram a lot, and I'm just engaging with people, and I had a couple people like, oh my gosh, like I love the podcast, and I've listened to every episode. And that means the world to me. So I just wanted to thank Andy Malden and Mandy Connors. You guys, just a little shout out to them. Thank you for listening to every episode. That means the absolute world to me. I'm like, man, like I thought I was the only one who's actually.
It's news to me.
Oh, and like Lindsay was, she said that she's like, I've listened to every episode, and I'm like, that's. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, and that's really
cool. I'm just super, super grateful. And you guys, world, thank you so much for tuning in to the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa. Give me a whoa, guys.
whoa.
We will see you later.